The RB19-2, coming soon to a track near you. There have been talks about AlphaTauri getting a hand-me-down car from their big brother next season. It isn't hard to see why, given how dominant Red Bull have been in their machine. But what does this mean for other teams? And, more importantly, is it legal? Keep watching the video. This is an interesting one. There have been whispers that Red Bull's RB19 might return to the grid in the upcoming year, just under a different team. David Croft has brought to light a circulating rumour suggesting that AlphaTauri, or whatever their name will be, could potentially take charge of running this year's Red Bull car in the following season. The current season has witnessed Red Bull's RB19 dominate the field impressively. Out of 12 races, the car has secured an impressive 12 victories, 5 of which culminated in 1-2 finishes. This remarkable performance has solidified the Milton Keynes squad's position as they march confidently towards clinching a second successive double triumph. On the other hand, the AlphaTauri AT04 has frequently been regarded as the slowest car on the grid. The results clearly reflect this assessment, as the team has only managed to secure 3 points so far. Because of these performance concerns, AlphaTauri has initiated a few changes. The promising talent Nick de Vries has been sacked, and the more experienced driver Daniel Ricciardo has taken his place. Also, there will be a change in leadership, as Franz Tost is stepping down as team principal, making way for Laurent Mekies to assume the role. On top of all that, the team is preparing for a rebranding as they plan to adopt a new name for the upcoming season. These changes are aimed at bolstering the team's competitiveness and achieving improved results on the track. Helmut Marko, Red Bull's motorsport advisor, has emphasized the intention to strengthen the junior team's collaboration with Red Bull Racing, with a focus on cost cap alignment and synergies. This closer partnership has raised speculation about the possibility of AlphaTauri utilizing an RB19 car in the upcoming season. While speaking on the Sky F1 podcast, David Croft said, "AlphaTauri is the one that interests me. Where do AlphaTauri go from here? Yuki Tsunoda is driving okay, scored all their points this year. Nick de Vries didn't work, but I would have liked to have seen him given a bit more time. I understand the reasons why, as were explained, they got rid of him. I think Daniel Ricciardo has come in as a motivation, not just for Yuki, but for Checo as well, and that seems to have worked in the last couple of races too. But does Danny Ricciardo want to be racing really for AlphaTauri next year? Potentially, if AlphaTauri is a much better car. And there are lots of reports that the plan is under whatever name they're going to be, maybe Toro Rosso once again, that they run this year's Red Bull next year. Which has happened before. Super Aguri ran a year-old Honda, for instance. It works at the start of the season and you'd quickly get out-developed. But it would definitely work for AlphaTauri, but that's just the paddock rumour. If AlphaTauri were to run an RB19, a car they had not designed, and that includes parts for which they do not own the intellectual property rights, it would present Formula One with a grey area to navigate. This situation would raise questions due to the ban on customer cars in the sport since 2010. According to Le Mans winner Richard Bradley, Max Verstappen still has something to prove when it comes to winning in uncompetitive cars, despite no fault of his own. Bradley compares him to the Formula One greats of the past who showcased their skills even in challenging machinery. Undoubtedly, Max Verstappen has been an undeniable force in Formula One this season, displaying remarkable dominance by securing victory in 10 out of the 12 races held so far in 2023. His exceptional performance last year led him to clinch a second World Championship title, setting a record with 15 victories. Following his rapid rise to a Red Bull seat in just his second season as a Formula One driver, and at such a young age, Bradley believes that the one missing achievement in Max Verstappen's racing resume is securing a victory in a car that is far from being competitive. Back in the 2015 season, Max Verstappen made history by becoming the youngest ever driver to enter Formula One. He joined Toro Rosso and was paired up with Carlos Sainz. Although he had some standout performances, like finishing in 4th place in Hungary and Austin, he narrowly missed the opportunity to step onto the podium during his debut year. In early 2016, Max Verstappen was promoted to the senior Red Bull team and became teammates with Daniel Ricciardo. He swiftly made his mark by securing his first victory with the team in Barcelona. However, despite his remarkable achievements, Richard Bradley, the winner of the 2015 Le Mans LMP2, believes that there's still one challenge that Verstappen needs to conquer: According to Bradley, the true test of Verstappen's prowess would be winning in a car that is not competitive, similar to the example set by multiple world champions who have achieved the seemingly impossible in the past. It remains the one challenge left to do for the dominant Red Bull driver, as it would further elevate his status in the pantheon of racing legends. On the latest episode of the On Track GP podcast, Richard Bradley said, "For me, Max hasn't proven himself properly in a car which doesn't have the capability to win yet. I'm not talking one which had a possibility to win, I'm talking one which really didn't have a chance to win. The only time he was in a car which definitely didn't have the chance to win, which was the Toro Rosso, he was teammates with Carlos Sainz, and they were very, very evenly matched throughout the whole period. And then he went into Red Bull and he won his first race, so the car was clearly in a position to compete. But whereas you look at the real greats, Senna with that 1984 season driving the Toleman, but then winning in an uncompetitive Lotus when his teammates weren't on the podiums. Then he went into a good car. But even when the McLaren wasn't good in 93, he still won races in it. You look at Schumacher, he won the World Championship in that Benetton when his teammates were absolutely nowhere. Took Ferrari and was winning races in 1996 when, again, they were nowhere. You look at Hakkinen, he was winning races before McLaren were in a position to win the championship. Prost has won the most races not starting in the top 4 of anybody in history. For me, that's what makes the whole package, and I don't think Max has actually done that yet, but that's no fault of Max's at all. Going back to the Sebastian Vettel factor, Vettel won a race in that Toro Rosso and was consistently in the top 6. But Max, the problem is Red Bull have had such a good car over the years, Max has never been tested to that yet. So that's not a discredit to Max, it's just merely saying that we haven't seen that happen yet. In a moment of honesty, Max Verstappen opened up about the difficulty he faced in trying to pass Lewis Hamilton during the Belgian Grand Prix. According to Verstappen, it was impossible to do until a critical moment, when Lewis Hamilton dropped out of the DRS range. It was only then that Verstappen saw his opportunity and managed to execute the overtake. Despite starting from P6 due to a 5-place grid penalty resulting from a pre-race gearbox change, Max Verstappen wasted no time making his way to the front. Remarkably, he managed to claim the lead in just 17 laps of the race. The two-time world champion demonstrated his prowess as he smoothly overtook his teammate Sergio Perez, and once in the lead, he maintained his position with unwavering determination, never allowing anyone to challenge his position throughout the rest of the race. In his victorious drive, Max Verstappen overtook both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc on his way to securing the win. But even though he came out on top, it became evident that passing his long-term Formula One rival, Lewis Hamilton, presented a much more formidable challenge than initially anticipated. He said, "I was a bit unlucky because I got stuck behind Lewis because he was in the DRS of Charles Leclerc, and with them having the highest top speed, Lewis, this weekend, it was just impossible to pass. So I had to wait for him to drop out of the DRS, and as soon as he didn't have DRS anymore, I could pass. And then I think 2 or 3 laps later, I could pass Charles. But with that, I think I hurt my tyres a bit too much, so basically, as soon as I had my stop onto the medium, I could feel that the car was in a much better window and I could go a lot faster. So yeah, from there onwards, that was really where it started to come alive." Does this mean that Lewis Hamilton is indeed a better driver than Max Verstappen? You tell me in the comment section down below, and, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.